I'm by no means the smartest person in the world when it comes to interpreting music or art in general. That being said, no one has any clue what's going on in this album from what I can tell. Granted, the amount of research I've done to find others' opinions is going through songs on Genius Lyrics and looking up analysis of the album on YouTube. That's kind of why I wanted to make this video. There, to my knowledge, isn't an analysis of the full album on YouTube. People have analyzed specific songs, but that doesn't show the full pictures of how each song fits together. Before I begin, I'd like to specify that this is just my interpretation, and that I believe this album is about good and evil more so than opposites, which is what many believe it is about. It's definitely a theme, but it's not the focus. Brief introduction out of the way, let's dive into the specifics.
Woke up today with the lay of the land, feathering cap and the sun in the sand. It was easy to understand.
Tally Hall always treats their introductions as very important. There are YouTube videos going into detail about how Good Day, Greener, and Welcome to Tally Hall tell us everything we need to know about the band. So why is Never Meant to Know the first song on this album? The answer is that it's a love song by Rob Cantor. Whereas Joe and Andrew both delved into pretty serious topics on some of their songs on the last album, Rob wrote sad love songs that weren't even that sad. Greener slaps. Just Apathy is sad until the guitar solo, and then it also starts slapping. And Haiku is only sad if you look at the syllable count. Now listen to the music in the background. What about this is happy? The consistent slow guitar rhythm that shows the sadness. The arpeggios, which you can't hear because we're not far enough into the song, that show the beauty of what he's lost. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about what this song is about. This song is about someone who enters a relationship with his partner, but they show him things that he was too innocent to understand. Now he's lost that innocence and is only able to see the evil in people and the world around him. This song serves not only as an inciting incident for the debate over good and evil, but it's also a notice to the audience that this album goes into some pretty dark places. Perhaps you too will find things that you are never meant to know. What you'll see on this album is that it tells a story, not a conventional one with characters, but through the messages of each song. Each song responds to the previous song or song's ideology by either agreeing or disagreeing, and is to my knowledge the only song that was actually written as a response to a real-world song. Lock and Key by Mason Proper is a song about rising up against those opposed to you, and is about how you need to make peace or at least be on good terms with those opposed to you, because if you aren't, that's how wars start. I love the vocal effect in this song. You can't hear it because this version is from a live performance, but it makes the song sound like someone is at a rally, perhaps attempting to stop people from doing something rash, but in the end, the song cuts off, as they don't agree with this person's idea of peace. In the album's context, the song objects to the idea that the world is all evil. It's divided into two, like everything else. It presents this as a fact you have to live with. Because if you don't, then, as I said previously, war. Rob returns true to form with another classic love song. This song tells the story of a couple falling in and out of love with each other, until eventually they have to break up. The beginning of this song has very similar instrumentation to Anne, with guitar, bass, drums, and tambourine. This shows the similar ideologies both of the songs have musically as well as lyrically. The song has the guitar aggressively spiking every beat when the relationship is failing. When the relationship is succeeding, it stops the angry guitar spiking and the normal G chord is changed to the beautiful G major 7 chord, which truly shows the impossible bliss the two are experiencing. The song being named You and Me, it obviously agrees with Anne's idea of the world in opposites. Where the song disagrees is with the possibility of opposites existing together in harmony. This song plays around with the phrase that opposites attract, but ultimately concludes that opposites can't live in harmony. You and Me put us in a pretty rough spot, but what if its message is incorrect on principle? That's where this song comes in. Cannibal tells a story of a relationship where, for the sake of keeping things PG, one person is taking advantage of and being mean to the other. The one being taken advantage of tries to convince himself that everything happening to them is normal and not a bad thing. This is represented musically by having a great sounding poppy arrangement contrasted with dark lyrics and the occasional darker instrument. The outro, where they admit to themselves that what is happening isn't okay, is so creepy. This song simultaneously makes me feel like dancing as well as disgusted. In the album story, this is an argument that the world isn't divided into good and evil, but rather there is no set boundary for what is good and what is evil. It's all up to interpretation.
You're the chosen appointment to be who you are.
The album goes into a different direction now. Instead of trying to identify how good and evil work, the album delves into human nature. The album goes into this direction as a response to the terrible things that the one partner does to the other in Cannibal. Why would they do something like this? Maybe because all humans are really evil. This song tells the story of a relationship where one lover hides their true identity from the other and hurts them in the process. In the context of the album, this song presents the idea that humans only act like good people to get what they want, but are really all evil on the inside. Corroborating with the last song, Sacred Beast is a bit of an interesting departure from the last couple of songs. Those songs were all love songs about problems between partners in a relationship. This song is a love song about people outside of the relationship. Basically, people in the friend group are being married off and don't have enough time to be with their old pals. The demo is longer and goes a lot more in-depth, and it actually points to all of these love songs originally being meant for an examination on love instead of human nature. In the album story, this song is saying that even when we aren't trying to hurt those around us, we're too blinded by our selfishness to realize that we are.
You hang around for a living, somewhere between all the land and the sky, being by never forgiving. Nobody knows you and neither do I.
I'm not saying that any of the previous songs weren't, but this song is genius. It uses a scarecrow as an allegory for depression, and it is done so well. This song tells the story of someone with depression being harassed for seemingly no reason. When this attack is happening, the word fly is repeated, and the instrumental slowly changes from beautiful to a cacophony of noise. I also love the reverb put on the vocals. It sounds bad at the beginning, but when more instruments come in, it sounds like the voice is coming through the wind. This is, of course, another example of the worst side of humanity. This is when we finally get a more mature take on the issue. If you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed that the examples of humans being evil have all been inflicting pain onto another. This means that all of these songs have technically been disproving their own point. After all, the person being hurt couldn't have been evil. And is reprised here, likely because this song changes the direction of the album dramatically. In this song, the singer talks about how a lady they had a relationship with both was great to them and hurt them. The lady showed them things that they didn't know about themselves. But in the end, she wasn't mature enough to be in a relationship with them, and a breakup occurred. The important thing is the acknowledgement of the lady having both good and evil traits. Humans are complex beings. They don't cleanly fit into one category completely. Some are more evil than others, of course, but none are completely good. The problem of humanity has been resolved, but if you think back, we're still debating whether or not things cleanly fit into opposites or are just evil. After all, as I said, humans are complex. That doesn't mean that other things are. The album now pivots to criticizing things that are usually thought of as good. The trap deals with the debate of technology versus nature. This is represented musically when, at the beginning of the song, the more natural guitar is played in one ear, while the more unnatural instruments play in the other ear, until the chorus where they come together. So which one wins? They're both declared evil, as neither can truly explain how the world works. Growing up is another thing that is usually considered good, but you get adult responsibilities. This is why the song is called Turn the Lights Off. You're an adult now. You can't sleep with the lights on. You have to turn them off and live with the monsters in your closet.
Misery fell on the town when they lost all their looks.
Religion is another thing that's usually considered good. This song is great. The drums and bass ground the song while the guitars slowly increase in intensity along with the song. The song is about people who are so focused on the afterlife that they forget to live their life in the present. So what is good and evil? It's pretty safe to say the world doesn't cleanly fit into opposites, but there's no way it's all evil either, right? How do you know what is good and what is evil? Out in the Twilight concludes that everything is both good and evil. What is good can and is used for evil and vice versa. Technology and nature can't tell us how the world works completely, but they allow us to live our lives. Growing up brings responsibilities, but with those responsibilities come freedom. Religion might cause some people to focus on their afterlife more than other people, but it also causes people to help the homeless and build schools in Africa and other stereotypical church projects. But how can you tell when things are being used for good and when they're being used for evil? Well, it all depends on perspective, but not in the way that Cannibal presented the idea of perspective. That song chalked it up to opinion. This song uses perspective as in coming at topics with no opinion and being ready to have your worldview challenged and possibly even changed. Hence, out in the twilight, as in between night and day. This song revisits the issue of human nature. Just in case this album made you lose faith in humanity, it has a super wholesome song about someone simply committing themselves to their partner. In the context of the album's narrative, this could also be read as an invitation for the listener to commit to being unbiased. Now, you as the listener may be thinking, this is a pretty simple message. I agree, and I personally believe that a lot of what I've been saying is common sense. But now I ask you, listener, why do we not see people practicing this in everyday life? Why are we so quick to have one experience or interaction with a person, organization, place, or thing and base all of our opinions off of that one time? That's what the final song of this album goes into. Tally Ball has made a great video about the literal meaning of this song. Basically, it's a Tower of Babel-esque story, where a human being attempts to reach God but is constantly stopped as God resets their mind. This literal meaning is important for understanding parts of songs like And the larger multi-album Celestial Body narrative, so definitely check it out. But for the purposes of this analysis, we'll be covering the allegorical meaning of this song. We see someone trying to live their life in the twilight, but for whatever reason, whether it be himself or others around him, he is giving into bias and picking a side too early. Each time this happens, the music gets more intense, until eventually the beautiful instrumental hits, and things get calm and peaceful. Turn the Lights Off is referenced in the rhythm of the harp, and is referenced in the lyrics. At this point in the song, the person gives into their bias and becomes complacent, ending the album with the sad and unfortunate truth that we as human beings, despite being good-natured, will almost always give into bias in the end. And that's Good and Evil, my personal favorite album of all time that I don't think gets enough credit. I could talk so much more about this album, but I wanted to keep things brief. Me and Tyler have worked things out now, so don't worry about him. Anyways, not to end the video on a sour note, here's something cool. Have you ever noticed the similarities between this song and Good Day? They both start with harmonizing over a piano. They both change styles throughout the song. They both reference other songs. Good Day is their first song, and Fate of the Stars is the last song. Until Just a Friend was released, but we ignore that.